Hi guys, over the next few lessons we're going to cover Amazon Route 53. So Route 53 is primarily a DNS service, so a distributed name system service, and we'll have a refresher on what that means in a moment. But it also does some other things. So you can register a domain, so you can register your own domain on Route 53, and we're going to do that in the next lesson. Or you can create a hosted zone. Now, your hosted zone might be related to the domain you register, or you can create private ones as well. It also does health checking, so Route 53 can check your resources. It can send requests to make sure that your resources are actually running. And then it has a very clever functionality called traffic flow, which does some intelligence around how it distributes traffic to your resources. What we'll concentrate on in this course is we're going to be looking at how to use a hosted zone. We're going to register a domain, it will create a hosted zone for us, and then we'll have a look at the types of records we can create. So just a refresher on DNS, you saw this slide earlier in the section. If you're a user and you want to connect to a web server using a browser, you will enter the domain name into your browser, and then you'll contact, or your computer will contact, a DNS server. And that is the server that knows what the address of the web server is. The DNS server keeps a zone file with these records in it. So it knows what the IP address of the web server is, and then it responds with that information and the client can then connect. So that's the same with Route 53. With Route 53, we create what's called a hosted zone, and that contains the records for our particular domain. Then if a user is going into their browser and trying to connect to a web server, they'll ask for the address for example.com. The response will come back from Route 53, and then they can connect to the web server. So that's a simple view of how it works. But Route 53 is a bit more clever than that. So it has several different types of records or routing policies that you can create. So you create a record and then you assign a routing policy to it. So what we were looking at there was simple. It will just simply respond with an IP address associated with the name. And if there's multiple IP addresses associated with that name, it will then just provide the records in a round robin fashion. You can also have failover. In this case, you can have multiple records pointing to different servers, and Route 53 will health check those servers, and one of them is the active, the primary. If it fails a health check, then Route 53 thinks it's inaccessible and will route you to a different server or a different response. It will provide a different record in response to a DNS query. We then have these two called geolocation and geoproximity. So these are all about routing based on geographic locations. And you've also got latency here. So what this does is you can have multiple records, and Route 53 knows how far you are away from those particular servers, and it will give you a record corresponding to the nearest instance of the application. You've then got multi-value answers where you can have lots of different responses provided to you, and you can kind of then load balance through those. And then you've got weighted, so you can say send 80% of my traffic to one record and send the other 20% to another. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these in this particular course. It is something I go over in other courses I've done, where I take you through and show you all these policies in action using EC2 instances around the world. But it's a bit beyond the scope of this one, so we're going to leave that one there for now, but you can find more information on these on the AWS website. So this was a pure theory lesson, just wanted to teach you a bit about what Route 53 is, and then we're going to get into some hands-on in the next lesson.